eventually we're going to get off and walk. But while we're waiting for kind of the action to happen, I think I'd like to start opening it up to questions. I could really talk for hours and hours and hours about my adventures, but what happens is I want to know what you guys want to know. As I said, I could talk for hours and you might not even know what you're missing out on. So let's open up.
Sarah, did they allow you to take your own saddle?
No. Each of these adventures, they provided their own saddles. These saddles here, if you can kind of take a look, they were specially designed for this race to try to be, because it's going to be wet and in the salt water a lot. They were built. They were light because they can't waterlog them a lot. They were like a carbon fiber kind of tree, and it had fenders. They provided the fenders and the strokes and that for us as well. What we did bring though is we were allowed to have up to 5 kilograms of gear, which actually isn't a lot. That's 11 pounds for those who prefer to use it that way. I actually don't even think I came anywhere close to the 5 kilograms. You really, when you do this, you learn to live with less, and you kind of appreciate living with less too. Ashley, my blogging partner here, she was asking me last night, she said, wait a minute, did you wear the same clothes the entire time? Yes I did. Didn't you smell? Oh, maybe. But really, we were in and out of the water so much, it was kind of pointless to bring a change of clothes, because anything you got changed into dry clothes, you'd just be getting them wet again anyway. So in my pack, I brought a change of dry clothes just to sleep in. I had a sleeping bag. I had a very basic first aid kit. I had, what else did I have? A couple of electrolytes and protein bars and things like that for me. And then I had my GPS, my navigation system. Because all this, it's not a marked trail. You actually have to take out a GPS and you're following the GPS route and find your own way to the finish line. Gerber's having a pee here. He was such an awesome little horse. He just took care of himself the whole time. And said that was why he was the first horse, because he just did everything so calm and relaxed.
What do you do to train for these races personally?
I had 2 different techniques from Mongol Derby versus here. Mongol Derby, I worked with a personal trainer, Heather Sansom, from Equifit, and she trained me. I did a lot of weightlifting, I did a lot of running, and a lot of stuff to build up my back, because you're carrying a backpack on you for such a long period of time. You want to be able to have a good strength base there, because it's very exhausting. So I was able to take what I learned from there during the Mongol Derby to this one. I actually had a running injury before, in the spring before this, so I wasn't able to do a lot of running and that, and I was overweight or over where I thought I should be. But I did do a lot of hiking because it was relatively easy on my hip, which is what I had injured. And it actually, I think, was probably the best thing that I could have done for this, because as you'll see as we come up here, it gets pretty tough, and I spent a lot of time, we called it mountain climbing on horses, because you were just, if you weren't going up, you were going down, and it was all rocks. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on the Bruce Trail this past year, and it really, really helped me a lot.
Sarah, when you finished a section of trail, did you have a pit crew or people to help?
Yeah, so every section of trail we had a vet check, which is basically a standard endurance vet check. We had our rider card, and they would do the heart rate parameters. Our heart rate parameters were 64, like it is an endurance ride here. And they would go through and they would check all the gut sounds, and they would check for lameness. We'd trot the horses out and do everything like we would do an endurance ride here. Then you'd pass or fail, and you'd have several of these before you actually change the horses too. So after we had our vet check, we would have a 40-minute hold, just like we do here in Ontario in our endurance races. And then we could have our time to eat and drink and have the horse recover. before I did this, I never thought I would ever be doing something like this. And as I said, I was on the Bruce Trail all summer, and I thought I would never take my horse on this Bruce Trail. And this makes the Bruce Trail look almost like a joke. not that it, it's still tough, but I said, well, I couldn't believe that these horses did it. So the horse in front of me, that's Mondi, who I ended up riding with most of the way. And he has a green horse there, and you can see he's just leaping and going down. And then my horse, the little Gerber, look at him. He's no big deal. So yeah, imagine you've only been riding for a couple of hours and that's what you came across.
It is a big, Sarah,
Yeah.
it is a big deal because it's very hard to do that without getting stepped on.
Yeah, and that's what they told us too, is they actually had these clever bridles that you could turn into a halter and lead them, and they said, lead them down, let them follow, don't stop and try to pull them down, just keep walking and trust that they're going to follow you. So it was just keep moving out of the way because you did not want to get jumped on. I'm standing there, you saw what Mondi's horse did, how he just leaped down the embankment there. These were close to 3-foot drops. I'm standing there thinking, is this going to happen to me, And it's very nerve-wracking waiting to go down, and as I said, Gerber made it look so easy. He was such a brilliant little horse for this.
How long do you get to meet the horse before you get on?
We had 4 training rides. So each horse got one training ride where we would swim with it, and one of the horses got an extra training ride. We were doing some mountain work. Each ride was maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, so not a lot of time to get to know these horses. You really, we kind of figure out a few things of them before we got into it, but we had to trust a lot in the stud managers who were telling us about the personalities of the horses, and that they picked the horses to go at the right stages. And for the most part, the horses performed as they had described them. It was a lot of about asking the right questions, putting the right challenges in front of them, and really we just had to kind of trust them and hope for the best. Yeah.
What's the cost of rides?
They range. They're quite expensive. Most of them are quite expensive. The one in South Africa was the cheapest of them, and that was, I think, overall, because you're not just talking about the entry fees, but you have your flights, you've got hotels, you have to get gear together, and it's never just buying one gear. You have to test all your gear before you go too. So you end up getting like 5 different backpacks or something and picking the one you like best. Fortunately, I'd already done that for Mongol Derby, so I had a lot of this. So this one was relatively inexpensive for me. I'd say it's probably about $12,000 for this race in South Africa. Mongol Derby, if it's something that you're interested in doing, I would say expect that you'd be investing about $30,000 to do that. Yeah. Takes a lot of planning, a lot of budgeting, a lot of noodles.
I was just wondering, are they all stallions that you guys ride?
No. In Mongolia, they were mostly geldings. There were some stallions. And in Mongolia, they didn't actually ride the mares. So you never got a mare. In South Africa, it was mostly geldings and mares, but I think there was one stallion in the mix. And the ones in South Africa were all endurance bred, whereas the ones in Mongolia, they were, as I said, they were the wild horses that they would use for the Nadam races, or sometimes they just needed some more, and they picked out some good-looking ones and put a saddle on, and okay, it didn't kill anybody. It's in the race, So it was a real mixed bag of horses in Mongolia. The ones in South Africa, it was a little better. They had more experience than the ones in Mongolia. But it's a personal taste. Some people really want to try riding those wild horses. Some people like to do more of the long distance and the bonding with the horse like we did in South Africa. So they're just 2 totally different things. And there's the two totally different types of horses, but they both really suit the race itself that they've been put into.
Because it's a race, what do you win when you win? What do you
Nothing.
get out of it?
Nothing. No, we just, and that was one of the first things they said in the pre-race training in the Mongol Derby is they said, you know, it's more about the experience than it is about winning. In fact, if you win, there might not even be anybody there to cheer you on because we got to take care of the people at the back too. And that's the true thing is we, you know, when Mondi, Sam and I, we crossed the finish line first, there were lots of people there. There were crew and people cheering us on. Even some people from the local town came to see what the big fuss is about. But the people who finished towards the end had all of us riding there cheering them on too. As I said, we're friends. We're all friends. We all wanted to see each other finish this, and it didn't matter if we finished first or last. We all just cheered and screamed and hugged everyone. We were filthy and wet, and it was just wonderful.
Who cares about winning?
Exactly.
That could be proved to be winning.
And you know what? If you go on to my blog website, I have one that was the downsides of leading, because there's all these funny things and wonderful things that I missed out on because I was in the front of the pack. You know, some of the times the people in the back have the best stories because they have. Sometimes there's more challenges, or sometimes they have better breakfast. They have better breakfast than me. I had to eat peanuts, and they had omelets. So, but that's what happens when you start to get competitive and you're trying to be at the front. Is you have to, you know, make some you make some choices. You know, do you want the peanuts or you want to stick around for the omelets? You know, and if I were to go back and do it again, and I would definitely go back and do it again. It was so beautiful. I would go back and I would take every single minute they gave me. It was really fun to win. Like, it was really fun to go in there and be in the leading pack, and I learned a lot, and it was, you know, it was really, really satisfying to ride such a great race. But I would definitely never change anything about that, but I would definitely want to go back and just kind of enjoy my time and look around a little bit more too.
One more question.
You might have already mentioned it, but approximately how many days is each of these races?
The Mongol Derby goes up to 10 days. The Race of the Wild Coast was up to 5 days, and I finished it in 4.
I got one.
Yeah.
How many volunteers you have in your cabin?
Sorry?
Like how many volunteers for being a leader?
How many volunteers?
Like how many years?
Oh, how many years?
Like to ride.
To ride.
What do you think?
I actually am not a lifetime rider. I did pony camp when I was a kid. I'd go for 2 weeks in the summer, and I loved the ponies, and I'd cry when I had to leave, and then I took a break during high school and university, focused on my studies, and then when I started to kind of have some income, I started riding again. That's when I was introduced to endurance riding, and I think if I had known about endurance riding when I was in pony camp, there would be no question I would have been doing it forever. So it was probably a good thing I didn't know it, or at least for my parents' budget. But as soon as I started doing endurance, I fell head over heels, and I've been doing endurance for about 6 years now. So yeah, it's not necessarily something that you have to have been doing it in your life. You can pick it up at any time. And some of the neat things about the Mongol Derby too is in my year there was a woman who she finished on her 60th birthday, and she finished in like 9th or 10th place too. It was absolutely incredible. You know, it's just some people are so tough, and age is just a number. Funny story too is when I first signed up for the Mongol Derby, I wasn't expecting for them to call me within the next couple of days. I thought I was going to have to apply several times, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to apply this year. I'm not ready for it this year. I'll just apply, and then I'll apply again next year, and then maybe by the 3rd time they'll know that I'm serious, and they'll take me in. Well, wasn't I surprised when they called me back, and I had to get my affairs in order real quick. I thought I had 3 years, and I didn't.
Sarah?
Yeah.
What's next?
Next, I'm hoping to do shore to shore in Michigan. which is literally from the shore of Lake Huron to the shore of Lake Michigan. It's 50 miles each day. And I'm hoping to do that with my fellow bloggers, Ashley, who's over here videotaping, and Solstice, who couldn't be here today, but we're hoping that we can do it all together. And something that, you know, no matter how great these are, how exotic these are, something that's missing is, I didn't train these horses. I got on and I'm a bit of a jockey. You know, you get to know them and you do love certain things about them, but they're still not your horse. So I think there'll be, if I can complete shore to shore, which is the 5 days, I think there'll be a lot more satisfaction in there because I've brought this horse along, I've trained him, and I'm responsible for his success or his failure. And that's why I really would like to do a multi-day with him.
And when will that be?
Next August, yeah. So if you follow along on our blog, we're hoping to do either a blog series or maybe even a video series of how we're going to start preparing to go to do the shore-to-shore ride.
And when will the documentary be featured and where can we
I
see it?
don't know. I asked the same question on Friday. There was an Indiegogo campaign, and they had just closed it before Christmas because you were able to pre-buy it and you could get like a signed copy and all this. But they've closed it now. They're entering into the post-production. But they wouldn't give me a timeline, or they wouldn't really give me any more details as to how to do it. So the best thing I can say is pick up my card, follow our website, and I will let you guys know as soon as I know anything. There was another question here?
What breed is the horse that you're training?
He's Arab Trakehner, and he's a big boy. he's about almost 16'3" now. I do a lot of ducking on the trails. It's not totally typical, but he's pretty damn good too. He's got a lot of speed and strength in him, so he's a lot of fun.
Sarah, when you were in Iceland, what was the temperature, what time of year, and is there lots of horse rides there for the ordinary people to go there?
Yeah. They do a lot, and even here in South Africa, they do a lot of things where it's not necessarily a race, but they do a lot of rides that you can go to. The horseback tourism is actually getting quite big in Iceland, and there's a lot of different operators that you can use there. The temperature, I went in August, so I'm sure you're familiar with Iceland. They obviously have the midnight sun towards the summer solstice. So we went in August, so we had a little bit of darkness. I think we maybe had 3 hours of darkness each night when we were there. And it's their warmest time of the year too, which I think we got up to about 14 degrees. So it's pretty cold, you know. You come from our Canadian summers where we're up to 40 with the humidity and go back there, but it's kind of a nice break in the middle of July or August to do. So that's what you would expect there for the temperature. And I really recommend that if you were to visit Iceland, and I think you should too, because it's such a great place to visit. There's so many different things you can do. But really the best way to see it is on horseback, because there was so much difficult terrain. Like you would never go there in a car. It would be difficult to bike it. Even hiking it, it would be very difficult. But I'm just of the opinion too that the best view is through the ears of a horse. So I'll ride anywhere.